I'm Tom Vasel.
Zee Garcia, hello.
Sam Healey, what's up, y'all?
Now, we did a whole series of videos of previews for Gen Con and gave you tips and tricks on Gen Con. This is now kind of a look back at Gen Con 2016, which is now a week ago, although it doesn't seem like a week ago because
Seems like yesterday.
Years ago, man.
we've been in the airport for really long periods of time. We just got our last pick of luggage less than 12 hours ago. So, yay.
Thanks, Delta.
Thanks, Delta.
Delta! We need to get Eric Summers shouting Delta.
Delta!
That is what it is. So, they just released the numbers for Gen Con, and the numbers were actually like 100 or so less than last year, than 2015.
Okay.
But more
Okay.
turnstiles,
However,
right?
turnstiles were up dramatically,
Right.
like over 200,000. And if you do math there, 60,000, 200,000, that means almost everybody who came to Gen Con came the whole time.
For the entire
I see.
There was a huge, I think there was a huge upswing in 4-day passes.
Right.
Gotcha.
Like a 30% increase or something.
And and me just guessing that's partially because of the hotel situation at Gen Con. I mean, it's hard to get a hotel, and you figure if you're going to go and you're going to spend all this money for the hotel and that, you might as well go for the whole shebang.
Right.
And
Good.
the only people who are coming for 1 or 2 days are people who live in the Indianapolis area or within driving distance, I would guess.
And at the end of the day, that's probably a good idea because it is so massive. In one day, you really will miss more than you see.
Yeah, I didn't see everything. I walked over a good chunk of that convention center, and I
didn't
know I
even come
missed
close.
stuff. The exhibition hall was, to me, felt more crowded than ever on Thursday. In fact, Thursday felt more crowded than Saturday at this
It
point. I
really
might be
did.
wrong, but it felt that way.
The gaming hall I felt was the one that, the one that's, I guess it's hall B, C, D, and next to
Hall
the
B through
exhibit.
Doubletree.
Right, yeah, that thing. I felt like that was more full than it was last year. And again, I'm only going off of 1 year here, but I was in there a couple of times, and there were a good number of people in there as well. So I felt like this. Yeah, I know that they didn't, but it felt like there were more people here this year than there were last.
Well, again, you feel that because you see the people are there every day, right?
Right.
And also, I think they did some good things. One thing I really like that Gen Con did this year, the exhibition hall was bigger, but they also added some big chunks of open space.
Yeah.
Especially near the front, near the big booths, near Fantasy Flight. It was funny, both Fantasy Flight and Paizo and I think AEG all had booth space that was lines. That was it, right?
Yeah.
It was there just so you could line up for stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not standing in one of those lines. I don't care how much I want to game. Those lines were super long.
Well, I think if you
Upper
take
decks
the-
line went around the booth.
If you take the lines and you add to that the fact that you said there were more people on Thursday, it said definitely felt that way. There were more people on Thursday than the rest of the days. I think it's a byproduct of the fact that companies have such a hard time getting enough product to Gen Con these days. And this year, that seemed especially problematic because a lot of the hot games, the companies had 200 copies and they would release 50 a day, which meant that unless you got in there as soon as they opened and you booked it over there, you weren't getting one. I mean, they had 200 for thousands
Yeah, but
and
only a
thousands
few
of
companies
people.
did it per day. Most companies did it only Thursday. Like they didn't
They didn't-
do them day.
yeah, and they were
so
gone.
that made Thursday. That's why Thursday's crazy. Everyone runs in. You got to buy games now.
that's
all
what
the
I
hot
mean.
games
I
were sold
think-
out Thursday.
I think Thursday is going to eventually take over for Saturday being the busy day because of that. Because people say, this is a convention at which product sells out. I'm going to get in there the first day.
I think that might be a little bit of a byproduct, though, of the shipping snafus that a lot of the companies
Oh, sure,
were having this year.
yeah, but it happens every year.
That's true, but I think it happened. It was more at the forefront this year than it has been in previous years. Because last year, again, I'm only going off of 1 year experience here. Is that I noticed that when those publishers had, 400 copies of the game, and so they would stagger it. They would do 50, 50, and that. But we had some publishers this year who only had 100 copies of the
Sure.
game. So they couldn't go, 25, 25, 25. That would be crazy. But so I think the shipping snafus that happened this year were more the cause, maybe, of that Thursday being, because you only have 100 copies of the game.
Sure.
I must get in and try to get one of those copies. I can't wait until Saturday. They're going to be gone.
I just think it's a pattern by now, so people are aware of it.
Maybe we'll have
obviously,
to see. We'll have to see how things go next year, because if that shipping snafu doesn't happen, and there are 300 copies of said game, they probably won't sell out on the first day.
It's just
because they'll stagger them like they have in previous years.
It always happens to someone, though, at least.
Yes.
So people are becoming aware of the fact that, hey, if I want something and I want to make sure I get it, I might want to be there Thursday.
Right.
Because by Saturday, there's obviously more of a chance that it'll be gone, right?
It's really tough for publishers too, right? Though,
yeah, they
because
obviously want to have 1,000 copies there.
But they don't. But they got to be careful, because what if they do bring in 1,000 copies and they only sell a couple hundred of them?
Right.
That's extremely expensive to ship the stuff there and to ship it out of Gen Con.
Sure.
Gen Con is just an incredibly expensive convention anyway.
Yeah.
And bringing product in and out, we brought in a pallet, and even that's a pain to get that one pallet there and get all that stuff in and out. Now, we fortunately have connections where we can get that out, but if I was paying for every box that I shipped out, I'd be like, okay, we need to figure out exactly how many of these things we think we're going to get rid of.
Yes.
And that's what some companies do, and sometimes they often underestimate, but there's also companies there who have a ton of product that doesn't sell, and that's not fun either. I thought there was a lot of very exciting games released there. There was some stuff that kind of flew under the radar, the Vast game.
Yeah.
A lot of people were talking about that. That Harry Potter game I did not expect to be as popular as it was, but I mean, Harry Potter, so.
Yeah.
But I thought the USAopoly thing would not, I just didn't think people would be that excited about it.
Sure, right. It definitely felt like a year where, you know how some years at the box office feels like the year of the sequels, where everything has a property that has built-in fans. It definitely felt a little bit like the industry is moving that way, when the year is, oh, there's a big Harry Potter game coming out. Oh, there's a big Ticket to Ride game coming out. Oh, there's a big Legacy game coming out. These are established concepts, properties. And people, it used to be in previous years that the big ones would be, hey, did you hear about this new game from so-and-so? It seems to be like Steampunk Pirates. But that's all you had.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, it's based on this thing. This year definitely felt more like we need to capitalize on IP.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to think, other than Vast, what game, I mean, like even the Red Raven game, it was, hey, Ryan Lockett has a new game. Ignacio's game was kind of, I mean...
It was. Cry Havoc was a new property, yes. But then there's like all the... legendary stuff, all based on IPs, and that seemed to be doing very well.
Potion Explosions was doing really well. In fact, Cool Mini had, I think, 12 to 15 new games there.
They did.
They did not fool around. They came, and I would say their booth was the most interesting just because they had that many new games. Like Fantasy Flight, it's always fun to go there to look at all the miniatures, see their new stuff. But they had only a few new games comparatively. Mansion of Madness and
Conan.
But that wasn't there. See, that's the thing. They have a lot of they had a lot of stuff showing it off.
They were demoing.
You played Conan, right?
No, I didn't play Conan.
You played the other one?
The Mythic Battles Pantheon or something to that effect.
And you said that was pretty cool?
Yes, that's something I'm looking forward to. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting because Asmodee is slowly taking over. You can tell now the booths are separate. The Fantasy Flight booth, the Asmodee booth, the Z-Man booth, but you can also see the same people are walking from booth to booth. They're definitely connected behind the scenes, and that's an interesting thing. We'll see how that goes in the future, but that still is a small part of the exhibition hall. That was like 4 or 5 aisles, which is a lot, but there was like 27 aisles.
Right.
There's still tons and tons of little stuff there, little publishers, extra, dice.
Yeah.
Those ways to make your game cooler is definitely a theme right now.
Yeah.
So at least 3 or 4 insert box things, upgrading components.
Table
2 or 3 of those.
There were several table makers.
Yeah, Geek Chic does not rule the roost in that regard anymore.
Not anymore, no.
So that was cool. Our booth was extremely crowded on Thursday, then was just decently crowded Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which was fine by us.
Yeah.
But Many of you came by and said hi to us. We really appreciate that. That was very enjoyable. And our show had 1,000 people, which was exciting.
Very fun.
And I'm very happy with that. If you missed our show, go watch it. It's on YouTube. You can check out the show. But that was a cool show. And we had some neat announcements made there. I thought it was a lot of fun.
It's fun.
What would you say was like the most fun thing for you there?
I don't know.
Well, I have to say that the funnest thing that I did at Gen Con was being in the booth. That was the most fun that I had there. Because I enjoy that aspect of meeting people, shaking hands, talking with them, and that type of thing. I enjoyed that more than. Now, I did have a chance to break away on one of the days and play London Dread with Zee and Jason and Rob Oren, and that was a really fun time as well. So those are the two kind of highlights. I mean, I enjoyed the show. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed that, but I think the two highlights of the show was that London Dread game with the guys, and then just being able to be at the booth.
And for me, I really like that. But for me, when that question is asked, it always ends up being something that has nothing to do with Gen Con, you know? Like, I liked hanging out with people. I like seeing people that I haven't seen in a while. And I like meeting people I haven't met, but I'm specifically talking about folks I haven't seen in a while, or even these guys just going out to eat, hanging out, you know, whatever that may be. But that tends to be the stuff that I take with me, you know, because the games are cool, but we either may have seen it already or it'll get played and then we'll move on. But I'll remember the stuff I did with folks, you know, the meals, we went and saw a movie actually while we were there. That was awesome. I'll remember that for a long time. Whereas
I remember part of it.
Yeah, well, Tom kind of slept through some of it. This was a really comfortable thing.
It was late at night. It was late. It was a late show.
The chairs were recliners.
The chairs were recliners. Yes, that's true.
Anyway, no, but it's fun. You know, it's the vibe that's there that really makes it for me. That's why I like it so much.
Yeah, one of the things I think that helped us, we had a few snafus at our booth and different things, but for the most part, we got our Gen Con scheduled to the point where I was pretty happy with how that ran. We scheduled the nighttime meals and reserved them, which makes life so much easier. To walk into a restaurant and they say, your party, come in here. We don't have to wait, which is not fun at Gen Con, you know. Just trying to schedule and meet all the publishers, which is a real pain, but because there's three of us, we can kind of spread that out a little bit and see a lot of the new stuff. And there's a lot of new cool stuff coming down the pike.
Yeah.
I just get excited to find new little things, like the Lost City expansion, the 6-color. I didn't even know that existed. That was just a cool thing to find. I like stuff like that. So we appreciate, again, you guys coming by. We appreciate those who came to our show. We're glad to be back. We're going to be reviewing a lot of the games that we got there. It's going to take weeks, but some are going up today and tomorrow and the next day. But we're not going to be bored for a while, that's for sure. So there's a lot going on, and there's even more games coming in the mail that we missed at Gen Con for whatever reason that I just found out. So anyhow, I thought Gen Con was my favorite, best Gen Con so far. You know, I've been to, I think, 5 or 6 of them now. But this one, my daughter was there, which was super great. You know, that was a great experience, fun to spend time with her. And just the show, I thought, was the best live show we've ever done. And the games have me more excited than most crops of games normally do. I'm really pumped about a lot of these games. So, and we just met lots of people. So many people that some of it bored together after a while, but we're still super thankful for that. Just a lot of fun.
Yep.
I agree. I like Gen Con. I'm a big Gen Con fan.
Well, we'll see you guys in another 365 days. Now we kind of calm down as we prepare for Essen. Anyway, this has been BackTalk. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel.
Zee Garcia.
Sam Healey. See you on the flip side.